Welcome back to Here for the Common Game. We are back on the AFR, Adventures in the Forgotten Realm, the D&D set, with deck number 748, with Oswald Fiddlebender. Now, I don't know anything about this character from D&D because I didn't play a whole lot, but 2 mana 2/2 for a gnome artificer, or artificer, however you. White and tap, sack an artifact, search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed. So we got Artifact Pod, but it has Summoning Sickness. So I'm going to present this to y'all a little different today because let's go up the chain. We're going to do. First, we're going to start with the artifacts. Now, all of the mana rocks and things are in there too. So let's go up the chain. We're going to start at 0. We, of course, have Turmoil's Crypt. It's a good card. Sometimes you just don't need it, though. Ornithopter and Phyrexian Walker can round out the zeros. That way it's free to play. You can fiddlebend it into... Did I just verb that? Yeah. You you bend it into a 1-drop. So let's look at our 1-drops. The Dispeller Capsule. It's decent for a 1-drop. The Manifold Key and the Voltaic Key are also good 1-drops there for untapping the bigger mana rocks and anything else that you might need to untap. Expedition Map is just a good card for 1 mana. And then we're going to try out this new Portable Hole. As y'all know, when these new ones come out, I try to use as many cards from the new set as possible to kind of get an immersion in that world, if you will. So let's look at 2-drops. Cathedral Membrane's a white artifact. It's deals 6 damage to each creature it blocks. So it's not bad. Mere Superior has this drawback, which if we fiddlebend it into play, it doesn't matter because we sacrificed our 1-drop and now we have a 5/6, probably way earlier than we should. The Gold Mirror, of course, just the mana rock there. Same with the Ornithopter of Paradise. Mirror Retriever. This is a 2-drop that wants to be put into the graveyard. The Ichor Wellspring. It does its thing when it enters or leaves. The same as the Michelson Wellspring, which is actually the better deal because we're looking at ramp and mono white, right? The Potion of Healing. Black Blade Reforged. Now, these next two we're probably not going to want to sack, right? The Contagion Clasp and the Throne of Geth. Now, for the proliferate aspect, there aren't a whole lot of things to proliferate. We have the Astral Cornucopia, which I'm just throwing that in there. It wasn't in a... Normally, if I'm building a deck with Astral Cornucopia, I will put it either in the 3-drop slot or the 6-drop slot. Most of the time, a 3-drop slot. Because that way, that's the minimum cost, and you can proliferate it up to whatever you need. Those are charge counters, so it also works with all of your core tapper shenanigans. So that brings me to our 3-drops. Cathodion. I've never been able to pronounce this card, but here again, it wants to be put in the graveyard from play, so you can bend it up to the 4-drop and get 3 mana for your trouble. Scuttlemutt's a decent rock, as is Palladium Mirror, Unstable Obelisk, Dungeon Map, just pretty much mana rocks. The Pilgrim's Eye is going to get us a thing. Shimmer Mirror. Here again, that's another one we probably don't want to sacrifice, but it's really good. Spark Hunter Masticore. When it matters, it matters. But man, when it doesn't matter, it really don't. So, it does keep the table from doing, random things with Teferis and whatnot. But Chief of the Foundry is a good 3-drop. Onulet, not the best, I know, but it does have an ability when it goes to the graveyard. So You can cast it for 3, and then next turn or this turn bend it into a 4-drop. But our big 3-drop that we are definitely looking for is the Staff of Domination, because we get to untap target creature, and that way our Oswald we can use it more than once a turn, especially if we've gotten some of our big mana rocks. Jor's Familiar, we're on into the 4-drops now, just making all your artifacts cost 1 less. Never-Knows Disc, sometimes you got to hit that panic button. Now granted, it's a delayed panic button, but Seer's Sundial, Hedron Archive, Sanctum Gargoyle. When you get the Sanctum Gargoyle, you get another artifact back. We're going to have artifacts in the graveyard, right? Because that's what we're doing. Yeah, so I figured that was pretty neat. Arcbound Crusher. Whenever another artifact comes into play, it gets a 1/1 counter, and then the modular says those counters don't disappear when it dies. We just get to transfer them over to another artifact creature. So that's pretty sweet. Now, to Mirrorworks, I love this because it's not a cast trigger. It's when another artifact enters the battlefield. So we can bend something in, pay the 2, get a copy of it, and then just bend away the original on a later turn, and we've still got the card. But Precursor Golem is, I think, the underestimated card of the deck. Now, the downside of Precursor Golem is Precursor Golem. I mean, you get your 2 3/3s, but you want to get rid of the original as fast as possible because you don't want one lightning bolt to kill them all. Not that Lightning Bolt's a highly played card in Commander, but you know what? I run it. But you know what I'm saying. A disenchant to get them all. So you can bend into the Precursor Golem, get your 2 3/3 tokens, and then bend it up into a 6-drop. So the 6-drops, Scuttling Doom Engine. Yeah, it's kind of not bad, right? Lore Seeker Stone, Dreamstone Hedron, and then our keeping the board honest Steele Hellkite. So then we go up to 7, and 7's where we stop now. We have Spine of Ishot, which was the first card I thought of when I saw Oswald, because I mean, it does its thing coming and going, although it's not really going to go because this is the top of the curve, right? To Meteor Golem, here again, another Golem, another 3/3 Golem that can die to that bolt that we were theorizing about. But it 1/8/7's a permanent, Sandstone Oracle. We're drawing cards in mono white, so we can just bend up into it. And then the Mirror Ball. The beautiful part about the Mirror Ball is it starts the cycle over. If that's just what you're doing, but odds are we're doing more than that, because it gets you 4 mirror that have a 0 cost, and then you can bend them into 1s. So outside of that, that is our artifact curve. We have just some goodness here. Daring Archaeologist. Whenever you cast a historic spell, put a 1/1 counter on it. I mean, that's not bad. Our good buddy Sun Titan did have a Sun Titan for this deck, didn't for the last one. Auroch Salvagers. 2 mana colon to return that expedition map to your hand. Ingenious Smith from Adventures of the Forgotten Realms. I didn't know how I felt about the Ingenious Smith. Top 4 cards of your library, you may reveal an artifact from among them and put it in your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your... And I was like, well, that's just an impulse. And I was like, it's a free impulse on a 1/1. And she's got the slow grow 1/1 counter thing. Tempered Steel. I mean, we were already in white and artifact creatures. I figured, why not, right? And like I said, we're in mono white. We have 4 lands that are not plains. Let's go ahead and get them. Rogue's Passage, Temple of the False God, a cycling land, the Secluded Steppe, and the Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. Because, we're casting a ton of colorless spells. So then we're going to look at our removal that aren't artifacts. We have Condemn, Soul Snare, Disenchant, Crib Swap. Now, I know Vow of Duty is not removal, but let's face it, if it's not my problem, it's not my problem. Slash the Ranks. I have no problem with Slash the Ranks in this particular deck because as long as Oswald stays out there, all the rest of my artifacts can go. Terminus, same thing. They get put back on the bottom of the libraries so that we can fiddlebend them back out. And then our last card is Lapse of Certainty, because nobody sees the white counterspell coming. And I know it doesn't read as good as it is. You counter a spell and put it on top of its owner's library. A lot of times what you're going to be countering is a situational thing anyway. If you're trying to do something, if you're trying to cast the Staff of Domination and your blue player counters it, no, I still get my staff. Yeah, but you're also, you're costing them a draw, which is worth something. I don't know how much, but it does cost them a draw, and you do get that card in that counterspell scenario. So that's why I like the Lapse of Certainty. And I'm trying to use as many of these lands as possible with the flavor text on them for the Adventures of the Forgotten Realm, for the D&D of the Commanders. The only problem is there's like 40-something of them jokers, and I don't have that many AFR basics, right? So let's go put it on the wall. Let me move my hat, don't I? 748, Fiddlebender's there. We are back, and tomorrow will also be some more Adventures of Forgotten Realms. Got several left to go. Several, like in the 30s. So, because every set's Commander Legends now. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching, and y'all let me know what you think. We're going to go ahead and shuffle and cut.